You know, these days it feels like Clash Royale is going through an identity crisis. They had a bunch of stuff and then randomly remove it. And in 2025 especially, we had to say goodbye to quite a bit of stuff. So here is every feature that was removed from Clash Royale in 2025 and why they're no longer around. Banner boxes and tokens. Now, we will talk about chests that were removed in 2025, but I'm not really sure if anyone considers these chests. They were just boxes that contained banners, and they were added to the game in the summer of 2022. As you know, there was a currency for this box. You had to collect 100 tokens in order to open one, and you get a random banner. Since its release till earlier in 2025, these tickets were pretty easy to get, and I think it was a pretty cool system. However, in April, all banner tokens were converted to gold, and the box was removed. The reasoning behind this was to make the banners more accessible through casual gameplay, like through challenges, events, lucky drops, etc., instead of having to buy them with these special tokens. Season Shop. Added in March 2023, the Season Shop's role was to give players a chance to buy many things like emotes, banners, resources, and magic items. And all you had to do was get these season tokens by playing matches. That's all. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but looking back at it now, it was pretty great. Despite offering many great rewards, however, Supercell claimed that many players were missing out on much of what it had to offer due to not visiting the shop enough and not even knowing it existed in the first place, which is why they removed it. They wanted to increase the visibility of all the rewards, make them more accessible, easier to get. The removal of the Season Shop had an avalanche effect of sorts. You know, once it was removed, it took a bunch of stuff with it, like the Events tab. So one day, me and my wife were playing some 2v2. We had just come back from watching the CRL finals and wanted to kick back at the hotel and play some matches. Why did we decide to play Clash Royale to chill? I don't know. But regardless, after a game, she tries to open the Events tab, probably to visit the Season Shop, and is totally perplexed by this message. Something is wrong with my game, she tells me, and I had to explain that they disabled the page because they removed some of the stuff and moved all the challenges to the main screen. And that basically sums it up. Once they removed the Season Shop in April of 2025 and moved all the challenges out of there, the tab has been under construction for 75% of the entire year. You know, I still think they should have just thrown merge tactics in there, or maybe they should add like a shop where you have to collect tokens from playing the game and you can buy like banners and emotes and chests and stuff like that. That'd be pretty sweet. I don't know. I think that could be pretty revolutionary. Daily task. After they removed quests in 2020, the game had no such daily activities that you could get online and complete. I mean, every now and then we did, but not a permanent feature. And so to fill that gap that they had created, they added daily tasks in October 2022, which was also the perfect way to give away the brand new banner tokens. Over the years, it received some changes, like in 2024, most of the rewards were replaced by lucky drops and they added a streak. However, in the Q1 2025 update, the daily task feature was removed. Because chests were removed, battles now rewarded lucky drops. And so instead of getting lucky drops from two different places, they decided to merge those two things together and it became the battle rewards. And as for the streak, it just got moved to the profile. Even though the daily task as a separate feature was removed, the rewards were exactly the same as before, albeit with nerfed lucky drops at the time, but yeah. Global tournaments. Alright, this one hasn't been officially removed. You got me with the clickbait. But for the majority of 2025, for a feature that used to appear very frequently, it is nowhere to be seen. Global tournaments, as most of you know, is a tournament for everyone, and for casuals, it was mostly a way to get free rewards, including trade tokens. Ever since they stopped appearing, no one has had trade tokens. In the summer of 2025, when they were making some major overhauls to the game, they explained global tournaments would be disabled during the July season though, due to technical limitations, and that the plan was for it to return at some point. They said the same thing about 2v2, and that did return. But for the global tournaments, half a year went by and there were no mentions of it. Some say they're giving it the old trade token treatment or the star level treatment. You know, if we just stop talking about it, players will forget about it. But I really hope it returns. It was pretty fun. Shop chest. This is one of the more recent ones, and it is the chest that used to sit in the shop and you could purchase them with gems at any point. As random as this seems, it's not that random when you think about it. It was inevitable. When they removed chests in the Q1 update, they said many features that had chests, including the ones in the shop, would stick around for now, implying that at some point they wouldn't be around. But why November 2025? Well, some theorize that it got replaced with the ability to upgrade cards with gems, removing the randomness with the shop chest and being able to spend the gems exactly where you need it. This is not an official explanation, but it makes the most sense, because they did rework the gem economy in the same update, and so maybe this is just one of those things that had to go. Elite levels. We're mostly talking about the elite wildcards here, but they also removed the whole concept of elite levels. Level 15 is no longer called elite. Elite wildcards was added in late 2023, and it basically only served one purpose: to upgrade your cards to level 15. You didn't need gold to upgrade to level 15, just a bunch of these elite wildcards. Regardless of the card's rarity, it was okay, I guess. But overall, the whole idea of elite wildcards had mixed reviews. Some loved it and some hated it. Supercell knew that in order to introduce level 16, they didn't want to do the whole elite wild thing again, and so they removed it entirely. You don't need them for level 15 or 16. They're gone. According to Supercell, this was to make upgrades easier with gold and cards like the good old days. These changes took effect at the end of November 2025, and everyone got compensated in gems for the elite wildcards they had. Several magic items. Yeah, in 2025, there were many magic items removed. The magic coin, all of the books, and chest keys. I guess technically, elite wildcards were a magic item as well, but that's already a separate entry in the video. With the exception of that one, all of these magic items were added in 2021, and they all served a purpose. Chest keys instantly opened chests, books gave you all of the remaining cards for an upgrade, and the magic coin made an upgrade free. In 2025, it started out with the key losing its purpose because chest timers were removed, so there was no need for it. But as for the books and the magic coin, it's a little less clear why they were removed. According to Supercell, it's because players were generally keeping books and coins for the later levels, or when it seemed worth it to use it, because the value of these magic items depended on your current progress, and so players were more concerned about managing their magic item inventory than having fun collecting cards. So the removal of these items was meant to fix that issue, which is why you can now upgrade cards with gems, and why they increased the number of random cards earned throughout the game. On update day, depending on which book you had, it was converted to wild cards or gems, and magic coins were converted to gold. Hoggy Bank. The Hoggy Bank was introduced in October 2022, and basically it's just a way to get extra gold for real money. The gold accumulates with a multiplier as you play, and if you decide to purchase it, you get scammed. I mean, you get the gold. Much like global tournaments, this one hasn't been confirmed to be removed. However, unlike global tournaments, Supercell never commented on what happened to the Hoggy Bank or if it was ever coming back or not. Last we heard about it was in the Q1 update, where an in-game pop-up stated that the Hoggy Bank now lives in this shop. And it did. It appeared for the first week of the update in April 2025, and then never again. For something that felt like it appeared every season, it going missing for almost the entire 2025 is very strange. But you know, many people started to hate the Hoggy Bank in recent years because it was decreasing in value, so maybe they decided it was time to get rid of it. But I could be wrong, and maybe it'll be back sometime in 2026 or something. Lucky drops. Yeah, they technically just changed its design into something else. Same chest, different name, but I think it's a little more than that. According to Supercell, the lucky drops were replaced, so I'm gonna take it as that. Lucky drops were added in March 2024, and they were first put in the daily task as a nice little reward instead of chests. And slowly but surely, it would end up replacing chests in many areas of the game. In September 2025 though, they would rework lucky drops into lucky chests. These were different because they came in 3 different types: common, magic, and seasonal. This made the chests a little more predictable as far as their contents go, and each of them have a different amount of spins and of course different designs. The seasonal ones get changed every season. All in all, I think this is very similar to the daily task where it was repurposed into something else that was very similar. Old chest system. Yes, 2025 was also the year where they removed chests. Kinda, I mean, a lot of the chests remain in the game. So what they actually removed was the old chest system, which had been there since 2016. This included older features like the chest queues, chest timers, and newer features like chest boost, a few chests like the tower troop chest and the champions chest, and more. Yes, the old chest system was integrated deep into Clash Royale, so when they removed it, it took a bunch of stuff with it, including some of the other features we already talked about in the video. According to Supercell, this was largely meant to make progression feel more fun and rewarding. Waiting for a chest felt very outdated, and a lot of the old chests were starting to feel useless. So in a lot of places where chests were present in the game, they ended up replacing them with lucky drops, cards, gold, or crowns. Some chests did make a return for battle rewards, but only for a short time during the summer of 2025. But yeah, that is everything that was removed from Clash Royale in 2025. This started out as a much smaller video. I thought it was going to be like 4 minutes long, but the more things I wrote down, the more I realized that this is going to be like a full-length video talking about things that were removed in just 1 year. It's kind of crazy. Hopefully 2026 we don't see so many things being removed, and maybe some things make a return in some way or another. But yeah, before you go, you two things you'll like this next video, so why don't you check it out. As always, see you guys in the next one. Peace.